checked, it costs around £30 a person if you want to go to the very top. If you're here on a bit of a budget, a different option is over here to the right. A tall building, curved white roof, you can see the people up there as well. It is called the Sky Garden. Now up there, there's a restaurant, a bar, a garden, you can see through the glass there, a viewing platform, and it's absolutely free. It's free of charge to go to the top. Now, we are fighting the outgoing tide, so it means we're going a little bit slower on the way to Westminster. It gives us a fell down, torn down, burned down. The one before this, it was sinking into the mud. It was taken down in 1967, sent over to the USA, rebuilt across Lake Havasu in the state of Arizona, where it still stands as the old London Bridge. For the kids to the left, in between the buildings, a pirate's ship. Now it is the replica of Sir Francis Drake's boat, the Golden Hind. Now it's a replica, but it's been around the world twice, once more than the original vessel, taking the same route, actually carrying the same number of crew, 82 crew members on board. Next door to it, you can see the sign at the top that reads Pickford's Wharf. Now if you notice, not so much up this part of the river, but downriver, a lot of the buildings have the word wharf written on the side of it. Wharf simply stands for a warehouse at river front. That's why you don't see it on the high street, only on the edge of water, the word wharf. Now the next bridge, Cannon Street Railway Bridge. One of London's oldest pubs, called the Ladies' Bridge because it was heavily damaged during World War II. Rebuilt by an almost 90% female workforce. The ladies did all the labour from the waterline up. Now it is made from Portland stone, comes from Dorset. It naturally self-cleanses when it rains. That's why if you look back, you can see the sides are clean, underneath grimy green and dirty. Now if you've got your cameras with you, to the right here, you can see this tall Egyptian needle, a perfect uninterrupted photograph. It's called Cleopatra's Needle. It's made from red granite stone. Now that is the oldest thing in London. It's older than the 1 square mile city of London itself. It stands there over 3,500 years old. Now all needles, they were made in pairs, and the remains of her sister stand in Central Park, New York City. Now the original Globe Theatre, it stood to the left there, where the Financial Times building, the FT building, now stands, the site for the original Globe Theatre. Now there is a replica, and it stands on the other side of this bridge and to the left. Behind the next pier, it is a white circular building. It's got a brown thatched roof on top. Now it is a working replica. They do show performances inside in the original way. No stage lighting, no speakers, no microphones. It is open air like the original, so it doesn't have a roof in the centre. It was the first thatched roof building to be built in London since the Great Fire of London. You can also see the red flag flying the roof. Now this is an old tradition. The people in Shakespeare's day, they couldn't really read. So the best way to describe what kind of performance was being shown was by the colour of the flag that was being flown from the roof. And they still do that today. Next door to it, impossible to miss with the tall chimney, is the old Bankside Power Station. It is now home to the world's largest, most popular modern art gallery. It is called the Thames Modern. Now, if you like modern art, you'll be pleased to know it is free to go inside. If you've seen modern art before, you'll know why it's free to go inside. It's terrible, let's be honest, it's not the best. Especially standing opposite to the right here, the beautiful St Paul's Cathedral underneath the bridge. Easy to remember the height. It stands 365 feet tall, 1 foot for every day of the year. Designed once again by Sir Christopher Wren, his masterpiece, and he is buried inside the building. The second largest unsupported cathedral dome in the world, and you can go to the top. You can just make out some hand railings from the top of the dome there, just over 500 steps up to the viewing platform. Now the next bridge is Blackfriars. Now there's 2 of them, and the first one you can see the railway bridge, Blackfriars Railway Bridge. Now it was rebuilt, widened and strengthened in 2012 London Thames. And they've done something quite clever. Usually the trains just pass over the bridge, but on this bridge the station is on top of it. The station is over the water. It is the largest station crossing an open body of water anywhere in the world. The slanted roofs are in fact solar panels. They power almost 4% of the station. Now what they've cleverly done when they've widened it is they actually used one of the supports for London's first railway bridge. As we come through here, if you look left and right, you'll see these red columns. And if you look carefully, there used to be 3 of them, and they actually used one of them to widen the bridge. So these red columns, what remains of London's very first railway bridge, it was Brunel's Bridge. It used to hold the London to Dover steam railway line. And if you look down the water as we go through, you'll notice how fast the tide is leaving London. Now, at its fastest point, on an ebb tide, it can move upwards or anywhere near 7 miles an hour, heading out to sea. And that's what it's doing at the moment. It's ebbing. The tide goes out for 7 hours, it's heading out to the North Sea, about 45 miles behind us. And to the right here, it doesn't look that glamorous, but it is quite interesting. Now the building site, what they're doing is arguably one of London's biggest engineering projects. It's called the Tideway Tunnel, London's new super sewer tunnel. Now you can see the brown metal wall here, that's called a cofferdam. They hammer these sheets of metal into the mud, make it watertight, they pump out the water on the other side. They tunnel down up to 55 metres. And as we speak, they're tunnelling underneath the boats, underneath the river, connecting up these sites. You'll see one more of these before we reach Westminster. Now the river Thames, what you see today, it actually used to be a lot wider. It used to reach the buildings there on the right hand side. It was made narrower when they installed the Victorian sewage tunnels. The main pipes run underneath the embankment there to the right, the North Shore. Now what this done, it ruined a couple of things really, an old tradition. Now when the Thames was wider, the tides, they flowed a lot slower. So in the winter, it would freeze over solid. at the Thames Ice Festival. There was market stalls on the ice. The watermen, the older version of us, would have skis to their wooden boats and give guided tours. But King Henry VIII, he once travelled from Westminster, being pulled along on a sleigh all the way down to his palace in Brunel. Now the Thames never freeze over again, it moves fast. What it also done, it increased the chance of flooding. If you look a bit behind us to the right here, you'll notice 3 metal lions' heads on the wall. They run all the way along the embankment here, and these were a Victorian tide warning. Before the technology like we had today, if the water reached up to the lions, the police would know it was built by the Dutch. It sailed up the River Thames, and it was built into what you see today, laying on barges on the water. Then lifted up in one piece to its current location. It's got 32 glass capsules or pots. That's not a random number. It represents the 32 boroughs of London. So a capsule for each area of London. Half an hour to do a complete rotation. On a clear day at the top, views of over 25 miles. You'll see Windsor Castle from the very top. Now, it was only meant to be here for 5 years. It was due to be taken down in 2005. It's stayed here ever since because it makes too much money. Now, pre-COVID, in the summer, it can earn over £250,000 every single day. A real fortune. That's why it's still standing. And of course, it is now the centrepiece for our New Year's Eve fireworks display. It's not the fireworks, the actual wheel itself. Now we've Dave's had a quick workout. We do have enough water. Like I said, folks, usually we're meant to go straight into the pier, but we've got a bit of time and a bit of better photograph really if we take you through. Now you can't see Big Ben at the moment. Well, in fact, you never could. What you could see before was the Queen Elizabeth Tower. Ben is the name of the bell that's enslaved. But it's also turned off at the moment as well, just to help the engineers out, get that safety. A little bit about journey information. Safety first. By all means, get your final photographs. As we get near the pier, remain seated until we're safely tied up. This is for your safety. But the tide pushes us into the pier. It's a bit breezy as well. There may be a small tap just as the boat touches alongside the pier. No one falling over and no one standing on the stairs just in case there is a small tap. Now have a look around you. Make sure you've got all your personal belongings with you. Now don't leave anything on board of this boat. Now when you do leave the top deck, just don't use the staircase at the front here on the right. It's basically because the ramp will be down. We don't want 2 sets of people trying to get on one exit. It's a lot safer to single file. So any of the staircase